Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I almost don't need to call you to order. You're already in order. Thank you very much for being here this morning. It is a pleasure to have you for this very important and auspicious occasion, the official launch of the Youth Economy Agency Caribbean Development Bank project. I'd like to ask you please to stand for the rendition of the national anthem by the Leon Hess Comprehensive Secondary School Fusion Steel Orchestra. Thank you very much, Fusion Steel. Please remain standing. Yes, they do deserve that round of applause, absolutely. I'd like to invite our Project Officer for Training and Development at the Youth Economy Agency, Ms. Olivia Jean-Baptiste, to deliver the invocation.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to get here safely. As we gather this morning to embark on this significant journey for the upliftment and empowerment of youth, we seek your divine guidance and blessings. Bless the staff of the Youth Economy Agency with wisdom, discernment, and resilience as we spearhead this endeavor. Grant us the strength to navigate challenges and the creativity to craft impactful strategies. May its leadership inspire and nurture the potential within each young entrepreneur. Lord, infuse our project with purpose and may it become a beacon of hope and opportunity for those who seek to build a brighter future. Father, we thank you for blessing our Prime Minister with the foresight and vision of the youth economy. Father, we thank you for the blessing of the Caribbean Development Bank for funding and supporting this project. Open doors, touch the hearts of those who have the resources to contribute and align our efforts with your divine plan. May this project be a testament to your grace, transforming lives, communities, and our island, St. Lucia. We thank you for making this possible in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
Thank you kindly, Olivia. Please be seated. I'd like to say a special good morning to Senator Lisa Jara here, Dr. Martin Baptiste, Division Chief for the Social Sector Division, I should say, of the Caribbean Development Bank, Dr. Anthony George, Social Analyst at the Caribbean Development Bank, Mr. Thomas Leos, thank you for joining us, the Chairman of the Youth Economy Agency, Mr. Brian Vidal, Chief Executive Officer of the Youth Economy Agency, government officials, very many of you here, thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you. Other members of the Board of Directors of the Youth Economy Agency, other members of staff of the Caribbean Development Bank and of the Youth Economy Agency, partner agencies. It's really wonderful to have you gracing us with your presence this morning. A number of our mentors are here as well, part of our mentorship program, members of the Leon Hess Comprehensive Secondary School Fusion Steel Orchestra. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome and good morning. To officially welcome us this morning, it is my pleasure to have Mr. Thomas Leos join us on stage, the chairperson of the Board of Directors of the Youth Economy Agency.
Jerry. Terry, leave this. I don't want to tamper with this, Oh, it's that simple, okay. Good morning, everyone. I wish to adopt the protocol already established. I will begin by putting on record that the support provided by the Caribbean Development Bank team in seeing this project come to fruition, or to use the words of Dr. Anthony George, to take it across the line, has been very exemplary. The passion and commitment was felt in every engagement, be it an email, a telephone call, or a WhatsApp message. I have not had an opportunity before today to fully express the deepest thanks and appreciation of the Youth Economy Agency for the lifeline which has been extended to the young people of St. Lucia. The Youth Economy Agency has been in operation for about a year now. The first month, March 2023, was practically a virtual operation where we invited applications primarily for grant and loan financing. The Youth Economy Agency moved to its current physical space on number 27 Chaussee Road in April of 2023 and immediately expanded year's offerings to include training in business planning, digital marketing, and now bookkeeping. A mentorship program was also launched and executed in the last 6 months, as well as an investors forum. Much of this has been executed with what CDB would refer to as counterpart funding. So essentially, the Youth Economy Agency has kept itself going primarily with funding from central government and other sponsors. This initial funding was a strong signal from the government of St. Lucia, led by the Honorable Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre, that we believe in the young people of St. Lucia, and we are not only going to pay lip service to this belief, but we as a government will translate this belief into action. I say we as a government because everybody is part of the government. So this vision, which was birthed in Prime Minister Pierre's brain several years ago, was brought to life. And the young people of St. Lucia are now feeling it, they can touch it, and they can grasp it. The young people of St. Lucia can now use this opportunity to transform not only their own lives, the lives of persons in the community, but also the entire economic landscape of St. Lucia. In closing, I wish to applaud the CDB for buying wholeheartedly into this vision with the significant loan support on very, very concessionary terms, as well as the support in the form of grant financing which CDB has provided to ensure that the engagement of the young people of St. Lucia is a resilient and sustainable one, which will reverberate in this economy for decades to come. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leos. And when we started, Mr. Leos, of course, was very instrumental, very hands-on in getting things underway. We're really excited to see the continued growth in the team. And yes, absolutely, Mr. Leos does very much deserve that. Yes, yes. Basically steered the ship out to sea, and then once the journey was underway, handed over the wheel to Mr. Vidal, who will be joining us on stage in just a few minutes. But just before Mr. Vidal comes on to give an overview of the work that we have done, we wanted to just take a video stroll through the work that we've undertaken between April and December of last year. Somehow we managed to get it to fit into 5 minutes. It's not all of the work that we have done. That would probably take a little bit longer than we have time for today, I'm afraid. But please direct your attention to the screen, where you will be able to get a glimpse of the year in review for the Youth Economy Agency. Handel?
Agile, a flexible organization that will allow young people to convert their hobbies into entrepreneurship and their skills into business. And what the agency ought to do is to train them, to help them with training, with mentorship, with marketing, and with finance.
EA is already off to a roaring start, having already issued 11 grants, assessed an additional 60 applicants for various levels of engagement as it relates to the grants component, and based on how advanced the ideas are, or the specific needs of the enterprises as articulated. We also have about 50 applications for loans in the system, so quite a lot of interest and traction already. So our work is cut out for us.
O God, in your wise providence, you are glad to bless all human labor, the work of our hands and our minds. Grant that all those who plan this business, all those who will be working here, through your guidance and support, may they come to right decisions and carry them out fairly. Bless this work of your hands, Lord God, through their hands.
This youth economy agency, who are not just providing the loans or the grants, they're providing you with the training. Take advantage of it.
Don't be discouraged by going through the rigors. You have options. The thing that resonates with me that you have, that persons like me did not have growing up, was an institution like EA. In my time trying to do entrepreneurship, it did not exist at the time. But now you have an institution where you can get training, they assist you with your business plans. You have forums like this evening where you have persons who have gone through the journey and still going through the journey can share their story. Before, business people would not tell you how to be successful or how to go through the journey. They would see you as a competitor. Oh, you want to start business? You can work for me. But it's rewarding to see that we have somewhere we can go.
This is a pivotal moment. It marks the official sealing of our cooperation to increase the economic participation and engagement of the youth population who are between the ages of 15 and 35 in business enterprises in St. Lucia. The Youth Economy Project is transformational in that it is designed to expand access, opportunities, quality services, and financial investments for delivery of significant value, enhanced productivity, and positive outcomes. This is groundbreaking, and I'm confident in saying that.
Note of some of those numbers that were either uttered or came up at the end in the credits. Those numbers keep growing. Every single day those numbers are changing. Even as we're sitting here this morning, I'm sure there must be 3 or 4 or 5 applications coming in. And it's exciting to see the reception that we have had over the last 10 months or so from the young people of St. Lucia and from St. Lucia at large. It's really wonderful to see how people are really embracing the opportunity and taking advantage of what is being put there for them to be able to take their small businesses or take their ideas and really transform themselves, transform their communities. To give us a little bit of an update on some of those additional numbers and an overview of where we are as far as the project is concerned at this point in time, it is my pleasure to welcome our current captain, Mr. Brian Vidal, the Chief Executive Officer of the Youth Economy Agency, to address you.
Good morning, everyone. Please allow me to adopt the protocol that was previously established. I must say it's a pleasure to be here this morning and to see so many familiar faces. It is my pleasure to just give you an overview of the youth economy. And I will start by explaining to you why YE, and where we are exactly. Okay, so the Youth Economy was established by the Youth Economy Act number 17 of 2022. Now, why the youth economy? The youth economy was really established to create some economic space for young persons to transfer their hobbies into entrepreneurial activities. And then as we go along, I will explain why. In terms of the location of YE, you notice that YE is located at Chaussee Road. Now, even that was a strategic decision, to bring life to this section of Castries. A lot of times when you tell persons you're located at Chaussee Road, they will tell you, what, Chaussee Road? So, we actually, we have brought a lot of economic activity to this area, whether it be allowing persons to come and sell their items, wash your vehicles, allowing couriers to carry items for us. So there's quite a lot of economic activity that has been generated thus far. And one thing to note is that YE, we really started operations in April of 2023. So to date, we have done quite a bit as it relates to our date of operation. Now, YE, we are provided with strategic oversight by a board of directors consisting of 5 directors. And in terms of the project financing, of course, we want to say thank you to CDB. In terms of the support, whereby 88% of the total financing comes from CDB in the form of both loans and grants, and then the other 12% from the government of St. Lucia. And of course, we have received funding from other strategic partners. So I want to say thank you for that. Now, in terms of the purpose, why YE? We would all know that that YE is the brainchild of the Honorable Prime Minister, Philip J. Pierre. And of course, you know that the Prime Minister is an experienced individual. He has been in the field for a long time, engaging with different stakeholders. And of course, he would have heard the cries of the young people of St. Lucia and the different stakeholders. As we know that, St. Lucia has a very high youth population. The latest statistics said it's about 23% of the total population. And if we watch the news, we will realize that young persons, unfortunately, have been started. The plan is to really give young persons the opportunity to be engaged and to develop their business ideas. You'll notice that I have dead weight loss here because from an economic perspective, when you have resources that are unutilized or not utilized at all, it creates a dead weight loss to society, a loss that could never be regained. So the hope is that by engaging young persons, by giving them the opportunity to generate, a sustainable income, the hope is that they will be able to employ other young persons, and then we'll see that kind of effect. And of course, YE does not operate in a vacuum, but in order to give support to the other initiatives that have been started for young entrepreneurs. And of course, as I indicated, to really provide this kind of economic space for young persons to thrive, to transfer their hobbies into entrepreneurial activities. And how do we do this? Of course, we would provide incentives to young persons. We cater to the risk takers because a lot of the times you find that, unfortunately, MSMEs are considered to be, high risk. And at the same time, they are considered to be the lifeblood of any economy. So the idea is that, by giving these young persons an initial investment, we have both grant funding and loans. By giving them this kind of initial injection, we are able to position them in a place whereby they could, help establish their business. And then it's not just about giving them access to finance, but again, you will see over time that we also give them training. And I'll explain why as we go along. And we really want to create this kind of culture, to encourage entrepreneurship. Because in truth and in fact, the private sector, government, cannot employ all young persons. And we know that every year young persons are continually leaving school, so there's always, excess supply of labor. And of course, if you watch the statistics, you will realize that the unemployment rate among young persons, it's high. Now, in terms of our structure, of course, we have the board of directors, as I would have indicated earlier. And we have on board several project officers, our accountant, the training and development, procurement, just to name a few. And of course, over time, we will be onboarding 4 additional resources by way of finance specialists, environmental specialists, gender specialists, and the procurement of a firm for social psycho services. Again, we understand that, young persons, are exposed to a lot of challenges. So it's not just, about giving access to finance, but giving a real, holistic approach to ensure there is a balance. In terms of the, right, so in terms of the, what we have done to date, and my figures they are as of December 31st. Reason being because, as Terry would have indicated, things change continuously. Up until when I was leaving the office this morning, there were some persons who came for grants. So the figures changed. And and I just want to, commend the young persons, who have really taken this step to, become self-employed. Normally we are supposed to be motivating the youth, but I must say, a lot of the young persons have motivated me. I've heard stories whereby, persons have left their 9-to-5 jobs, to become self-employed. Of course, with the assistance of the youth economy. So I think that is commendable. And I mean, a lot of us will never think about leaving our stable, 9-to-5 and going and become self-employed. So kudos to the young persons who have decided to take this journey. Now, from March 2023 to December 2023, we have received a total of 1,206 applicants. And they would have applied for grant funding. We also received applications for loans. It's about 270 applications. Unfortunately, we have not disbursed any loans at the moment, but that is one thing we'll be doing shortly. In terms of the grants, we receive an average about 120 applications monthly. And to date, we have disbursed 449 grants to the value of about 1.5 million EC. So let us please give a round of applause. Now, with that, the important thing to note is that at this time, YE was really operating on skeleton staff. So if you take into account the number of applications we have received, vis-a-vis the number of grants we have disbursed, you'll realize there's a backlog. So to address this, what we have done is that, of course, we have been strengthening our departments, reviewing the process to make it more efficient, to ensure there is a quick turnaround. So hopefully when we present another update in the future, this backlog will be reduced significantly. Now, in terms of the grant recipients, and I will show you later as we go along, our grant recipients are throughout St. Lucia. Of course, and in terms of the different industries, it's varied. And you would have noticed that I made a statement about the wait time because that's associated with the backlog. Again, measures are in place to address this. All right, just a pictorial view of the different sectors that we finance. As you would notice, food and beverage, the beauty and cosmetology, and agriculture. These are the predominant ones. But again, the important thing is that if you watch, you will see that almost all sectors are covered by YE. So we have a very large reach. And just to give you a view in terms of the districts, if we watch, you will realize that Castries, has the largest uptake for YE. Right, so I actually put the percentages there. So you realize that Castries has the largest uptake. And I rather suspect it's because, YE is located in Castries. But it's not just about, having figures. What are we going to do with those figures? So, of course, we are going to have a very aggressive campaign to ensure that throughout St. Lucia, all our beneficiaries know about YE and the exciting services that we are offering them. Now, my next slide, you will see that there is a ray of hope in terms of, all right, financing by gender. If you notice, more female entrepreneurs have been receiving financing from YE. So, that is commendable because, generally, women are seen as the more vulnerable group. So they are leading in that regard. So, kudos to the women-led entrepreneurs. Now, in terms of our beneficiaries and the eligibility, of course, we have certain guidelines. Number one, you must be a national. You must be an owner of an MSME or intend to do so. And of course, we aim to support all other agencies. So in terms of your statutory obligations from Social Security and income tax, that it's up to date. And you must have a location or intend to have a location for you to establish your business. And for loans, it is critical that we have to establish your ability to repay. Because, I mean, yeah, serious business. It's not just about giving persons access to finance, but we have to ensure that when we do give you access to finance, you know that we are accountable and you're also accountable. We have to ensure, you know, that you really have this ability to repay and that the persons who actually, you know, need that financing get access to it. The worst thing we want to happen is that persons believe they could just come to you and just get funding for anything and, you know, without any level of accountability. So, of course, some of the guidelines is that you must be a young person, and I'm referring to the ages of 15 to 35. You must not be delinquent, and you must really have a site that's conducive for business. Now, in terms of the process, one thing I want to mention is that in addition to giving young persons access to finance, we do not just give you access to finance and just leave you on your own. You know, we provide you with training, and we have this continuous support because we conduct site visits, you know, to see, you know, how the business is going, and we give you advice along the way. So it's really a partnership. And I would just like to say to the young persons of St. Lucia and the other stakeholders, you know, that at YE, you know, we are here to serve and we are ready to serve you. So, you know, reach out to us. We'll be reaching out to you. But it's a partnership. You know, it takes two hands to clap. So we look forward to hearing from you. Now, of course, we have some restrictions. Section 47 of the YE Act specifies the different areas that we cannot provide support, unfortunately. And that it refers to, for instance, investments in equipment that is really not directly tied to the MSME, and it's not critical to the MSME. Also, purchase of real estate and motor vehicles. Again, you know, they already have other agencies which cater to these kind of services. So the plan is to really get you along the way, help you to move around among the, in the MSME spectrum from micro, small, medium to large, and then, you know, you take off from there. In terms of liquidation of debts, payments of taxes, and payments of custom duties. Now, the custom duties, what we are saying is that if you approach YE, if you go through YE, we will assist you, but it's not a case whereby you already did the process on your own and then you come to YE for us to give you that kind of exemption. It does not work like this. So it has to be really a YE-approved project. Now, what are some of the benefits that YE offers in terms of tax reliefs and exemptions? Of course, 100% custom duty exemptions on imports, including fixtures and fittings, 100% duty exemptions on imports of alternative energy equipment, 100% exemption on the payment of VAT, on building material, furniture, equipment, and locally produced art and craft, and 100% exemption on the payment of corporate taxes. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it's not just about giving you access to finance, but really, you know, ensuring that you have this access to finance and you really know how to manage your business. Those of us who have been involved in development and commercial banking will realize that, as the old adage says, you know, that a fool and his wealth is soon parted. And that is the reality. So in addition to giving you that kind of financial support, you must know how to manage your business. You know, many a times, you would realize even the adults, they would start their business and then the first thing they would do is to go and buy a big SUV just to show you know that I've made it. And then over time, you see the business goes down the drain. So, you know, so training is important to really ensure young persons, you know, how do you manage your business? How do you present yourself to a financial institution? How do you prepare yourself? As you'll notice is that we have trained over 165 beneficiaries in business planning. Again, this we focus on, what is your marketing plan, how to pitch, how to really sell your services or your business to an investor or even a bank, a financial institution. We also provide training in digital marketing, and we recently concluded an investment training workshop. Again, the idea is to create this kind of collaboration so that young persons know there are different avenues. So it's all about training. And of course, we have our eyes on future training sessions, because what we try to do is that as we interact with our beneficiaries, we try to identify areas of deficiency so that we could kind of fill this knowledge gap. So we tend to focus on sales and marketing, packaging and labeling. Customer service, it is critical, because if you do not know how to take care of your customers, they will not stay. That is, when it relates to customer service, that's really the way you could differentiate your product offering, by giving that that extra touch to your business. And of course, food safety, especially for those involved in this industry. That once persons get negative ratings about your business, it goes down the drain. It's very difficult to recover. So we try to prevent this from happening. Then we have the mentorship program. Again, that is critical in terms of assigning young persons to a mentor. So I'd just like to say kudos to our mentors, and can we give them a round of applause? I see some of them in here, and I just want to say in front of everyone here that we really appreciate you, and we understand the sacrifice. And I think too, you have realized, that, it's gone are the days when we could just, turn a blind eye and just, forget about, our community. I think you have understand the principle, that he who plants a tree knowing that, they will not live under the shade. I think you have really understood that principle, that you plant this tree and somebody else is going to benefit from it. So kudos to you for that. So what our mentorship program aims to do is that to really partner young persons, mentees, with these experienced professionals in the field. Because, sometimes when you are self-employed, you will ask yourself, when things get difficult, boy, what am I doing to myself? I had my 9 to 5, what am I doing? So I think the mentors play a critical role. And I think we have realized as a society that when we turn our backs on our young persons, the negative consequences, affect us. Because when we have situations whereby there's a high crime rate, St. Lucia is blamed, not the persons, committing the acts. So we are, so it's important, that we all play our part and we give that kind of assistance to our young persons. Of course, our mentorship program generally lasts about 6 months, and we have provided services, mentorship services to about 60 mentees. So with that said, I would like to say thank you very much for your time and your attention. If we have any questions? Terry? Any questions?
One. There must be at least one question. Okay. And that means you were very thorough and comprehensive.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause once again for Mr. Brian Vidal. And of course, we are here today because we are at a new stage in our journey as the Youth Economy Agency. Last year, the government of St. Lucia signed with the Caribbean Development Bank an agreement that will inject funds into our operations that will allow us, or that has already begun allowing us really, to expand the scope of what it is that we are doing to do even more for more young solutions. And we are targeting, under the very clear direction of the Prime Minister, 3,000 young persons to be trained or supported in one way or another over the next 13 months or so, which is quite a lot. So the Caribbean Development Bank actually produced this short video to commemorate the signing of that agreement. Please direct your attention once again to the screen.
The Caribbean Development Bank has joined forces with the government of St. Lucia to boost youth entrepreneurship. The bank provided $7.6 million in financing for the St. Lucia Youth Economy Project. Through this initiative, over 2,300 aspiring young entrepreneurs are being trained in business development, marketing, and management, and will receive loans and grants for ventures in agriculture, agro-processing, manufacturing, retail, and for micro and small enterprises that drive the blue, green, and orange economies. We believe the young people of the Caribbean have the innovation and creativity to be a force in the region's economies, so we're paving the way for their inclusion and participation in business and industry. The Caribbean Development Bank, igniting youth entrepreneurship to build the economy of tomorrow, today.
A round of applause for the Caribbean Development Bank. And you heard about the various economies that are being impacted. That is certainly one of the most exciting aspects of what we do at EA. The fact that we are able to touch people in all sorts of different spheres of endeavor. When we hear them come in with some of their ideas, whether in technology, in finance, in law, in food and beverage, in textiles, you name it, whatever the mind can imagine, we can support at the Youth Economy Agency. And we have people coming in, as you heard from Brian, from every corner of St. Lucia. Just about everywhere you can think of in St. Lucia has been touched by the Youth Economy Agency, and we will continue to expand our net and to draw in even more young entrepreneurs. Now, we are technically keeping it local because Dr. Martin Baptiste, the Division Chief, Social Sector Division at the Caribbean Development Bank, is very much one of us, and I would like to welcome him to the stage to deliver some brief remarks.
Mr. Terry Finisterre, Project Officer, Communications, Youth Economy Agency. Mr. Thomas Leons, Chairman, Youth Economy Agency. Mr. Byron Vidal, Chief Executive Officer, Youth Economy Agency. Ms. Angela O'Brien, and Ms. Crystal Riviere, Chief Operations Officer, Youth Economy Agency. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Mr. Finisterre is right about explaining that I am connected to St. Lucia. He was our goalkeeper for the Combined Islands team in Barbados Cave Hill when we played together in the early 90s, and so we have connections there. And when I got married, my honeymoon was here in St. Lucia, thanks to your Director of Youth, Mr. LeBon. He is the one that recommended that my wife and I should come here. And so we have connections to St. Lucia, so I'm pretty much home. Yeah. Friends, the St. Lucia, like the Caribbean region, is facing surmountable pressures in realizing the collective aspirations of our young people. The collective imaginations for what we call a cohesive, equitable, and climate resilient economy and society have been unearthed by your poets, your musicians and artists. For example, in his recent publication, Belmont Portfolio Poems 2023, John Robert Lee writes a poem entitled Uprising, which protests rampant ecological destruction, crime, poverty, the declining quality of societal lives, and more. Quote, we need to rise to life, rise to see our fall. From the grace we were gifted, rise with hearts leaping to do right. Rise like silver flying fish over clean waters of living oceans, like scissor-tailed seabirds over life-giving heritage. Rise up over our ravished, sorry earth, unquote. Friends, this expressed desire for a transformed society and to improve the economic livelihoods, especially for young people, and to address the needs of vulnerable groups, including young males, females, and persons with disabilities, is consistent with the mandate of the Caribbean Development Bank. I remember when we were preparing this project, and Dr. George would remember, we were saying that if the St. Lucia government has asked us to support yea, we dare not say nay. Remember that? And we said we absolutely see the value in this and the visionary construction of what now is a viable development solution, looking at empowering our young people. Because for us, we understand that this is not a favor that the government of St. Lucia with the CDB is doing for the young people. This is a solemn obligation to the generations that are here, that assures that our communities, our countries, our civilization would move beyond the historic difficulties of the past and ensure that we are able to thrive and continue to be the place of choice for work, for life, and for living. And so the CDB continues to perform a critical role in helping St. Lucia to navigate many of its development obstacles by promoting in this project access to capital financing and capacity building for youth-owned and operated business enterprises. It is within this strategic focus that the bank has partnered with the government of St. Lucia and the Youth Economy Agency with its mission to reduce poverty and transform lives through sustainable, resilient, and inclusive development. I think we know by now that the Youth Economy Project is truly transformational in that it provides development solutions to the systemic challenges impacting our young people. And I want to mention two notable areas that are addressed by this project. First, youth economic empowerment, as you've heard and as our chief executive shared with us. By supporting the continuation of capital investment and capacity building in youth-led enterprises, the project will help to reduce youth unemployment and increase social resilience. This pioneering intervention in the region, and credit to the government of St. Lucia for this and the Honorable Prime Minister, will empower young female and male entrepreneurs with the provision of grant and loan financing, training, market support, mentorship to develop their own business enterprises. And of course, for us at the CDB, the added value that we bring is to ensure that YEA is fully developed as an agency that provides a full suite of services for success. And in that regard, we are providing funding for the institutional strengthening of the YEA to develop environmental, social, and gender safeguards, a grievance redress mechanism, building resilience to climate-related and other shocks, and strengthening interagency cooperation and partnerships through the engagement, as we heard earlier, of a social and gender specialist, an environmental officer, and a financing specialist. Second, this project is socially inclusive and promoting gender equality opportunities for everyone. This is done by ensuring that all services, investments, and operations address the diverse needs of men, women, boys, and girls. In other words, the Youth Economy HOD project is a socially inclusive and gender-responsive project that targets vulnerable groups, irrespective of their sex, disabilities, geographic location and residence, as was shared earlier, religious and/or political affiliation. Everyone can come, as you've heard. The project beneficiary will also be selected using a transparent and empirically verifiable methodology in the form of a well-targeted and operational project criteria. This combined investment of CDB and the government of St. Lucia, estimated at $7,678,000 United States dollars, it demonstrates that CDB remains steadfast as your regional indigenous development bank. We pride ourselves in being a trusted partner, focusing on providing the support needed for building youth-owned, operated, and resilient businesses here in St. Lucia. This project is here because, as you know, the future is now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Baptiste. We heard there from two poets in one, John Robert Lee and Martin Baptiste. I don't know when he's publishing, but we certainly will ask him to include, when you ask to support yea, you cannot say nay. Speaking of poetry, as I said, we support a very, very broad range of industries, of sectors, and it is my absolute pleasure. And let me, just before I introduced our guest performer, one of our performers this morning, let me just say the music in the year in review, that piece that was playing on the violin, that was actually one of our young performers here in St. Lucia, Michael Fletcher, 17 years old, from Choiseul. He was the valedictorian at his school graduation last year, and he is a Yale client. That performance actually came from our launch, and he has performed at least once. No, actually, that was one of our grand presentation ceremonies, and we're very proud of him and proud of all of our clients. And we are especially proud as well of a young lady who has taken part most recently in the Nobel Laureate Festival celebrations, where she did a live performance along with Chef Orlando, and she has performed at a number of other occasions, none other than Angela O'Brien of Ella's Artistry.
A pleasant good morning to everybody. I would like to say it is an absolute honor to be here. And as I take you with this piece, I would like to have an honorary mention to Mr. Kenneth Elver, Deputy Director for Social Transformation, and just a game changer for youth. Beneath the evening skies of Helen's communities, a chilled breeze brushes the streets at 6, releasing the evening dew. Come on, for the walking street man, foreign to the fancy car man. Stones of the dirt roads graze the souls of barefooted miners, answering grandma's calls for buns. Giggles will soon be ended by scolding as the clock ticks away the little one's fever. An hour's sweat halts till tomorrow, with heavy breathing, dripping chests, and wet shorts. The shopkeeper's soda sales increase as stocks decrease. The stench of perspiration clogs the mini-mart's space. A salesman concludes his day with fresh fish overpriced at just the right price, filling the community air. His mouth mimics that of a horn, not only in volume, but also in tone. Kawang, Balau, Dowad. Beneath the evening skies of Helen's communities, a production in action is portrayed. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And Ella, I think you worked with UNESCO, was it last year? She, with the support of the Youth Economy Agency, she was able to publish her first book. So congratulations to her. I believe you can go on Ella's Artistry to find that. It's ellasartistry.com, I believe. So you can look her up. At this time, just before we get to our final piece of entertainment this morning, we have something special in store for some of our guests. You can look under your chairs. This isn't quite an Oprah moment. It isn't a car for everybody, but just check under your chairs and see if you find anything special. You know, there might be a little bit of something under your chair. And let me just say, that anything that you find under there, those of you who are lucky enough to do so, anything that you discover under your seat. This is also a little bit of an exercise break. I see the Leon Hess kids rushing back to double check their chairs. That's good. Everybody's, there you go. Anything that you find under your chairs, please note that it is all locally made by representatives or by clients of the Youth Economy Agency. Okay, and I think we're actually going to do the presentations right away. You know, exercise physiologists say that it's always useful after you've sat for half an hour to 45 minutes to get up and move about. So that was our way of ensuring that you get up and move about this morning and get your little bit of exercise. I know some of you are coming here straight from your hotels or your homes. You may have been in the car for the entire time. So there's your little exercise break for the morning. Ensure that you get another one for the afternoon because you'll not be with ye all day. Right, I think it seems like half of our gifts went to the Leon Hess Comprehensive Secondary School Fusion Steel. So I think that will motivate them a little bit more, although we also have some special gifts for them as well. Crystal, we presented everyone? Some people have not sat on the lucky seats. That doesn't mean you have to change your seats, eh? Stay away. Right. So, I'd like you just to turn your attention to the back of the room. You heard them earlier. When we heard them the first time, obviously, we had to all be facing the front of the room as we were at attention for the national anthem. They played last year, in fact, just in front of Walcott House for St. Cecilia's Day, so right next to our premises at the Youth Economy Agency. We were delighted to be able to go down and take in some of their fine performances. And it is a pleasure to invite you to take in the performance Comprehensive Secondary School Fusion Steel Orchestra. A round of applause for them, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I can do better than that. No. Let's do better than that. Fantastic job, kids. We'll certainly be looking forward to your grant applications in the weeks and months to come. And as soon as you leave school, we have training set up for you guys in a number of areas. So we look forward to hearing a lot more from Fusion Steel. Fantastic work as always. Ladies and gentlemen, that nearly brings us to a close this morning, but to deliver our closing remarks, it is my pleasure to introduce Mrs. Crystal Revere, Chief Operations Officer of the Youth Economy Agency, to address you. And we couldn't close without calling Dr. Baptiste back on stage, if you don't mind. And we'd also like to call on our Project Officer for Business Development, Mrs. Janelle Mondesi, to make a special presentation to Dr. Baptiste. And as always, all locally sourced, all coming from clients of the Youth Economy Agency. Thank you so much, Dr. Baptiste. Thank you. Now over to Ms. Revere.
Good morning, all. I would like to adopt the protocol established by our Master of Ceremonies, our Project Officer for Communications. Today, we are indeed extremely grateful to the Caribbean Development Bank for recognizing the merit and value in our work and partnering with us as we embark on this novel adventure called a youth economy. We are also grateful, of course, that you have committed to exploring uncharted territory in our national economic landscape and build a legacy on which a host of generations can thrive. Through this youth economy project, the CDB has joined as an active partner to fulfill our mission of turning hobbies into entrepreneurship and skills into business. Our agency itself stands as a testament to the vision of the Honorable Philip J. Pierre, our Prime Minister, who, with the foresight and dedication, championed the cause of youth development by carving an economic space where young entrepreneurs can do wonders and make meaningful contribution to the economic development of our beautiful country, Fair Helen, St. Lucia. In a world where resources are finite, we owe a world of gratitude to partners like you for allocating valuable resources to nurture a youth economy. This project that we're launching today officially is a reflection of your commitment, passion, and belief in the potential of our youth. It signifies a strategic move to expose micro-enterprises to diverse funding, training, and mentorship opportunities to guide them successfully through the various cycles of growth, from micro and small to medium and large enterprises. The impact of your commitment is not just rhetoric. It is palpable in the success stories we witness from our clients every day, and you witnessed just now. The businesses nurtured by the supportive ecosystem created by the government and now supported by CDB will not only survive, but thrive over time. The youth economy, fueled by this commitment, has made a meaningful contribution to their operations, demonstrating the tangible benefits of investing in our youth. It has been proposed that the failings of most entrepreneurial ventures can be attributed to inadequacy of funders. Therefore, our agency aims to mitigate this risk by stimulating economic transformation through programs like those highlighted earlier by our CEO, Mr. Brian Vidal, and by continuing to tailor projects like those captured in our Year in Review video to fit the young St. Lucian entrepreneur. We recognize that we cannot achieve our Herculean mandate on our own. Therefore, we are grateful to you our partners, for joining us this morning. We welcome you not merely as spectators to a grand display, but it's our greatest desire to have you join us as active participants on this rewarding journey. We look forward to doing great things together as best articulated in our independence theme, Duva Assam. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the team at Sandals Halcyon, led by Miss Melissa Alexander, for their kind hospitality as they accommodated our every request for this morning's proceedings. I'd also like to apologize that there isn't enough parking within the very small space and you had to walk quite over here to get to us. Thank you for coming. I'd also like to thank in absentia the protocol team from the Ministry of External Affairs who provided invaluable support in ensuring that we executed with class and decorum. We'd like to recognize the talent of our youth exemplified by the Leo Hess Comprehensive Secondary School. Thank you, and thank you to our spoken word artists for sharing your art with us. Thank you for entertaining this meeting. And to the team at the Youth Economy Agency, I've said it before and I'll say it again. You are amazing. Thank you for all you did to ensure that today was a success. But more importantly, thank you all for all you have done to ensure that the agency stands as a beacon of hope to all aspiring Bill Gates, Elon Musk's, Jeff Bezos, and Oprah Winfrey's. As we network today, let us remember that it's not just a meeting of minds, but a collaborative effort to shape the future of our youth-led enterprises. May the discussions and interactions here catalyze innovation, spark partnerships, and illuminate the path for our budding entrepreneurs. Thanks for joining us in this endeavor, and happy independence, St. Lucia.
Thank you so much, Crystal, and thank you all so much for being part of this occasion, this ceremony. Certainly is the culmination, obviously, of the work that we've put in over the last 9 months plus, that the Office of the Prime Minister and the Prime Minister himself would have put in over the last 2.5 years to get everything in place for the Youth Economy Agency to be up and running. But it also signals the beginning of a lot more hard work ahead. It signals the beginning of a new, more arduous, but certainly we look forward to a very much more productive stage of our journey. As you can see, we already have been very productive. We aim to increase that productivity 3- and 4-fold in the coming year with the support of our friends at the Caribbean Development Bank. Having said that, our friends at the Caribbean Development Bank have cut out our work for us for the rest of the week, including the rest of the day. And so we are going to have to cut our ceremony short at this time, as we basically have to turn right around and come back under your thumb, gentlemen and ladies, and ensure that we are well equipped for the journey ahead. So once again, let me just thank you for being part of our ceremony, and I'd like to invite you to refreshments at this time, and wish you all a very productive and pleasant day.